welcome back to Conversations on Deck, and today is Sunday afternoon reading with Bruce Weber's All Pro Baseball Stars 1977. Over the winter, Ranger manager Frank Lucchesi planned to make Toby Harrah his third baseman in 77. Similar plans have been made before, and every year Harrah ends up as the all-star shortstop. This time may be different. Lucchesi made the 28-year-old Harrah his third baseman 5 games before the end of last season. It was his first game there in nearly 2 years. Lucchesi says Toby is at third to stay. Now, why the move? Some critics say Harrah can't cover enough ground at short, but they've always been saying that. The Rangers always had someone ready to push Toby out. First, it was Jim Mason, now with Toronto. Then Pete Mackinnon, who hangs his hat in Montreal. And then Roy Smalley, now at Minnesota. This time, however, the new man at short is Bert Campaneris. The Rangers signed the ace free agent in November, but even at third base, Toby won't hurt them. He was the team's leader hitter in 76, though his .260 average was 23 points off his best ever 75 record. Part of the problem was a severely sprained ankle, which hurt him all season, in the field, on the bases, and says Harrah, at bat. Still, he chipped in with 15 homers and 67 RBIs. Not many Rangers did better. Toby was third on the club in both areas. I'm ready to move to third, says the 6'0", 180-pounder. If Frank wants me there, I will be there. And that's Sunday afternoon reading with Bruce Weber's All Pro Baseball Stars 1977. So let's dig in a little bit on this guy, Toby Harrah. He was born Colbert Dale Harrah. Yeah, you heard it. That's his first name on his birth certificate, Colbert. But he went by Toby, which just fine with me. And he was born on October 26, 1948 in Sissonville, West Virginia. Now, when I first saw that Sissonville, I have a friend and his wife's maiden name was Sessom. And I thought, oh man, that kind of sounds very similar. You know, just put an E in there and then change the N with an M, and we would have Sessomville. Anyways, it's Sissonville, West Virginia. Also, something else, you look at his last name, Harrah, and it reads the same backwards as forwards. It's a palindrome. How cool is that? Wild. Well, in 1977, Toby was 28 years old. I was just 7 years old. He had a 5.7 WAR. He played in 159 games. He had 90 runs, 142 hits, 25 doubles, 10 hit by pitches, 27 homers, 87 RBIs, 27 stolen bases, led the American League with 109 walks, and he had 73 Ks and a .263 batting average. So I'd say Frank Lucchesi was smart to put Toby Harrah at third base. I know it says shortstop, but he went to third base. And here's a fun fact about Toby Harrah and one of his teammates, Bump Wills. So in August 27, 1977, these two guys hit back-to-back inside the park home runs against my favorite team, the Yankees, at Yankee Stadium. No, that's my favorite team for the Red Sox to beat, is the Yankees. But imagine that. Back-to-back inside the park home runs. That is cool. And in that year, he had 27 stolen bases. So we know he was quick. Here's a little Toby wisdom for you. You know, I always like to use direct quotes from players as much as I can find. And I don't use every single quote because, you know, I might make a future video about Toby Harrah. And but here's the most popular one I found. Quote, baseball statistics are like a girl in a bikini. They show a lot, but not everything. End quote. Yeah, I think that is totally true about the bikini, yes, but about the stats. You know, there are going to be certain stats that, you know, a manager might look at the stats of his player and say, okay, I'm putting him in, or no, I'm not putting him in. And you look at different situations and sabermetrics, or, you know what, just gut feeling sometimes. I think that's what we have to go on. But, yeah, stats tell you a lot. Do they tell you everything? No, they actually don't tell you everything. Okay, here's another fun fact about Toby Harrah. And this happened on June 25th, 1976. He started both games of a doubleheader, and he didn't get a single ball hit to him at shortstop in both games. But he had a great offensive day. Game 1, he went 6 for 8 with a walk-off grand slam. Not bad. And then game 2, he scored 3 runs and he had a 2-run homer. So, you know, I think that's an okay trade-off, having no balls hit to me. I'm okay with that. No pressure. But at the plate, he was raking. Now, here is something that I found that I was excited about making this video today, because Toby Harrah was kind of a practical joker. And I love hearing stories of different ball players being practical jokers. Well, he put itching powder on Gaylord Perry's neck during a game where Gaylord Perry was pitching in between innings. And here's what Ranger great Tom Grieve had said about that. Quote, "So when Gaylord goes back out to the mound, he's going through all these fake spitball maneuvers that he does, and he's itching the back of his head uncontrollably while he's out on the mound. And everybody was just dying, laughing at it." End quote. End quote. And I'll tell you, when I heard that story, it made me think of something from my youth. Okay, I was in Boy Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm one of 6 in my family. And I was in Troop 15. And at summer camp, went to a place called Boy Haven in upstate New York. Boy, some of my best memories were in Boy Scouts. And we had, well, I got a lot of friends. I'm not going to mention a lot of names, but I remember one of our buddies getting up in the morning, and he looked rough. He looked like he did not sleep well. And he constantly, his neck, he was itching his side of his neck. It was so red. He was by the campfire. And he said it just felt like somebody was putting needles in his neck. Well, it turned out it was itching powder. So what I did was I actually texted him, and I texted a couple of other guys, and he said, yeah, definitely, I remember that. And he goes, now that you're talking about it, I just put some lotion on my neck and it's starting to itch. So that got another chuckle out of me. I called another buddy, and he wasn't quite sure. He didn't want to commit anything. Totally fine. And then I called another guy, and he goes, yeah, I remember that. And I asked him, I go, okay, who was it? He goes, well, it wasn't me. And I thought, okay, I think he's covering for himself. He goes, but I was there, and I ended up figuring it out. But I'm not going to say it, and I'm not going to tell my friend who received it, the itching powder, who actually did it. It was, I'll just say, somebody that was not in our group text. But anyways, practical jokes. You know, one buddy, I asked him, I go, where do you think the itching powder came? He goes, well, remember in the back of like comic books and things like that, you could order things like, you know, the sea monkeys. You could order baseball cards too, but you could also buy, you know, x-ray glasses and itching powder, and he thinks that's where it came from. So anyways, that was kind of fun. That's what Toby Harrah reminded me of some great times in my youth. So all that came out of Bruce Weber's All-Pro Baseball Stars 1977. Make sure you're reading the book, folks. Have a great day.